it's Jen, and today I'm super excited to share with you another basics tutorial. So this one is how to get the perfect at-home mani. I'm a little bit of a nail polish fiend, and I've been loving polish for like so many years. So over the course of all that time and experience, I've developed a few techniques that I think make it way easier to just get that really perfect even coat every single time. So I also wanted to say a huge thank you to Essie for sending me these Gel Couture polishes. You guys are an awesome partner, and I love this new line, so I'm going to be using that in this tutorial. So if you want to see how to get the perfect at-home manicure, then keep watching and I'll show you how it's done. So the first step you're going to want to do is to shape and file your nails, and for that I recommend using a glass nail file like this. Some of them have cheap sand on them and they just like chip off really quickly, so if you can find a little bit more expensive crystal or glass nail file, I really recommend that. It's a very fine grit, so you tend to have a lot less of the peeling and weird problems like that, which I have a lot of, and this helps so much. Then when you have the right shape and size that you like, I would recommend washing your hands. This will just keep all of that residue and extra oils off your fingernails, and it'll help the nail polish to actually last a lot longer. So normally at this step I would use a base coat, but for the particular nail polish I'm using, it doesn't need a base coat. You're supposed to use it without one, so I'm going to actually skip that step. But just to keep in mind, for a lot of other polishes, you're going to need to do that as a first step. This one kind of saves you that trouble. So today I'm going to be using the Essie Gel Couture Polish, and I love this little tangerine coral color. This is called On the List. It has a really cool wavy kind of container. It's kind of like a dress spinning. This one also comes with a matching top coat, which I'll also be using. So these together work really well. One thing I learned from industrial design and using a lot of different paints is if you use the paint and top coat from the same company, it's kind of formulated to work together, so it tends to work really well. It's supposed to be very similar to like the effect of gel polishes and lasting 14 days, and I have definitely seen this last way longer than traditional nail polish, so I've been very happy, and especially happy to recommend it. It only has a 2-step thing, no base coat, and no UV light, so don't have to do that step at a salon, you know, it makes it really easy. Just as a note for any nail polishes, if they start to separate and stuff, I really recommend, instead of just shaking the bottle, which can cause a lot of air bubbles inside, if you flip it upside down, take it between your hands, and kind of do this rolling motion, that'll mix up the polish a little bit better without having so many air bubbles inside. So as you can see, this particular brush is really wide at the tip. It's like skinny from the side and wide, and that's kind of my favorite polish brush shape because you can really get a nice full coverage and not have to do so many swipes to get it really even. So how much polish you get on the brush is actually very important. So I'm just dipping it and pulling all the polish off of one side, and as you can see, you get a little bit of a gloop at the tip there. See how it kind of pools out at the end? That controls how much polish is going to get on your fingernail. So it kind of depends on how big of a fingernail you're going to polish each time, but we're going to aim for a full thin coverage. So for my thumbnail, I'm gonna need a little bit more because that's a bigger nail. So this side has the gloop, this side is kind of empty. We're gonna do paint side down, go almost to the cuticle here, push toward the cuticle, and then pull out to the edge. Now I turn it to one side, go almost to the cuticle, push toward the cuticle, and then pull it down. And one more time. The reason I do this is because when you use the actual paint to make that edge, it's easier to make more of a clean line than just trying to go exactly where the brush is and try to like make it perfect. Once again, I'm swiping this on the edge of the lid. I'm gonna go gloopy side down. And with these fingers, you can kind of push the bristles out so it gets a broad edge. Go toward the cuticle and then pull straight down. So now I'm just gonna go through and get that first coat on all of my fingernails. And if you get a little bit of extra polish on the side like I did just there, I just take my fingernail and kind of run it along that edge. But you're gonna wanna do that before it dries. And for my pinky, I don't want quite as much polish, so I just kind of dab some of that little teardrop of polish off on the edge. And the pinky goes on really easily. Kind of fits my pinky shape in one swipe, so that's really great. One other tip I like doing before everything is totally dry, it'll kind of be covered up later on, but I like wrapping the tip, which means I'm going to take some of the polish and just run it along the edge of my fingernail, because adding a little bit of extra polish there just kind of seals everything in, and it'll not chip quite as quickly if you have that extra little layer. But yeah, when we do the subsequent layers on top, it'll just kind of all blend together. I also wanted to make note that if you don't have a steady hand, one thing that can help is that your supporting hand, the one that has the brush, lean it against something. So see, I have my little pinky kickstand. I've said this when I apply eyeliner, but you can also do this with nail polish. Have this resting against the table and then just move across with the brush. It'll give you a little bit more stability and make things a lot easier for having a really even coat. So before the next layer goes on, I'm going to do a little bit of a test to make sure my nails are dry enough so that they don't end up dragging and smearing and making a mess. So I'm just going to take the back of my knuckle, run this along your fingernail, and it doesn't pull too much, then you're ready for your next layer. Now for layer number 2, we're going to do the same process. If you already had a really clean edge that first time, you don't have to be quite as careful the second time. Top coats have a little bit of a different formula as colored polish, so I like to have a little bit more product on the brush. It just dries kind of faster than regular polish without the pigment inside it, and you get a really clean edge when you have a little bit more of a teardrop shape. I'm not actually putting too much pressure on my fingernail. I'm more letting the product drag itself, and then it'll self-level a little bit. And before it dries, I like to also wrap this tip as well with the top coat. So I guess that is about it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial, or at least found a couple tips that were new or helpful. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to see more videos. Also, if you want to see more information on the polish that I talked about, I will have a link to all of that in the description box down below. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!